At O'Reilly.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around.
Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it.
That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/good or text GOOD to 511-511. Text GOOD to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
What happens when the Ozempic runs out?
Hundreds of thousands of people have now shed tons of weight using drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. But what happens when insurance won't pay anymore? Researchers at Columbia, Drexel Universities, and UPenn are trying to solve the biggest problem of how to keep it all off. They're studying brain, fat, muscle cells, and eating patterns to better understand why some people are successful but most are not. A clue, they say. The body is designed to fight weight loss. It's an ancient survival mechanism. Meantime, a study in JAMA Open Network finds a minimally invasive endoscopic bariatric procedure is actually more cost-effective and helps shed more pounds than popular injectables. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News, New York.
Trying to figure out what to call that bundle of joy that's on the way? For the 5th year in a row, Liam and Olivia topped the list of baby names for boys and girls in the U.S. Also in the top 10 for boys, Noah and Oliver. Allison Keys, CBS News.
My wife and I both needed a...
Broadcasting live from the palatial studios of KOKC in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Talks Insurance. I'm Rick Allen Lippert, here with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum.
Good day, sir.
Also here is the next generation of McRoof, HAAG-certified roof inspector Scotty McCollum.
Hi there, Rick.
Good afternoon. Running man Eric Yandel is the wizard on the other side of the glass. He's waving. He will answer your call to 405-478-1520.
I'm truly at a loss for words today, Rick.
We're expecting a sound bit, and we didn't get anything. So.
Viewers on the podcast, they can see his wave.
I got you.
We are live streaming the show on the McRoof Talks Insurance YouTube channel, so we're waving to you right now.
Yes, I forgot my glasses, so I'm wearing my sunglasses.
You can also hear us anywhere in the U.S. of A. on iHeartRadio. Just search for KOKC. Act 1 of today's show will start with our trivia question and other interesting tidbits, including the word of the week. While we wait for your call, that number again, 405-478-1520. Act 2 features Scotty's view from the rooftop. In this week's episode, Scotty must break some terrifying news to a customer after a routine roof inspection. Coming back from breaks, we'll have some really obscure historical trivia. Then in Act 3, we'll have our After the Storm tip brought to you by Roof RX, and wrap up with Dad's Wisdom brought to you by Energy Q. Now, the lawyer says I must tell you that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. Okay, so good afternoon, gentlemen. Let's jump in with the trivia question.
Yes, sir.
Take it away, Scotty.
Read that because it was my question.
All right.
What is the difference between a wood shingle and a wood shake?
You know, for years I thought they were the same thing.
Many people do, Rick.
There you go.
Many people do.
So there's obviously a difference.
There are many differences.
Okay.
There are several significant differences.
So,
we'll put it that way.
So are we taking any one of those?
Yes, if people call in and you've got one of these metrics down, one of these categories of the differences between a wood shingle and a wood shake, then we will give you some tickets to CST.
The
There
winner,
you go.
if you know the answer, you will get 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production. The rest of this season, of course, there are only 2 shows left. The next one opens a week from last night. So this coming Friday night opens a show, runs 4 weekends, and then we have 1 show after that.
All right.
All right, left in the season.
And if no one calls in, as has been the case a couple weeks ago, then I will be left with letting everybody know all of the differences between a wood shingle and a wood shingle.
Then we'll be hearing about it in Act 3 of the show.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure he's got all the answers, because I don't. So.
All right. So, Scotty, you also said the word of the week is telegraphing.
Yes, Rick. And after I sent this to you, actually on the drive over, I realized that this is not the most formal engineering term or architectural term for this word.
Okay.
And we commonly refer to this condition, that is the evidence of this condition, as deflection.
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 As opposed to telegraphing.
Telegraphing is more of a slang term for this in our industry, but we tend to use the more formal term, deflection.
All right. So this isn't a trivia question, so tell me what deflection is.
Well, deflection is evidence of unevenness in either the substrate below a roof
Decking.
system,
The decking, yeah.
or the framing underneath that substrate.
So someone didn't do their job right.
Well, that's actually not all that often the case, especially in Oklahoma, where we've got a number of different things.
Earthquakes.
Like our soil is not the most tight packed soil.
So houses settle.
Expansion and contraction.
Yeah.
Foundation settling, but there are some man-made components that can contribute to this type of condition as well.
For instance, if you were building the house, all right, and your framer didn't crown all of his rafters, okay?
No, you're telling people something that I'm not familiar with. What is crown?
Okay. A dimensional piece of lumber is not straight. Okay, so if you were ever out on a job when you were just a wee lad,
yes, and I was.
And you saw Wes Zamalik out there getting ready to cut a roof to put on one of my houses, you would see Wes over at the pile of 2x6s and 2x8s, and he would be turning them upside on their edge, and he would be looking at them, okay?
To see how straight they were?
Well, he's looking to see if the crown is up or the crown is down.
Okay.
And he is turning them all the same direction. Okay?
Really
because if you do not do that, then you have one rafter up, one rafter down, one rafter up, you have a mess on your roof.
Never heard of anything
Absolutely.
like that.
Say, with as quickly as they put houses up these days, I have a tendency to think that does not always happen.
Well, looking at what I see on roofs, I will tell you that does not always happen. But it's pretty obvious when the framer has not done that. Okay.
Wow.
In fact, we did a roof.
Rick, it sounds like you and I both learned something new.
Well, that's why I'm here, right, Rick? So,
I guess so.
Anyway, we did a roof for one of your customers, Scotty, a couple of months ago. And when we got done and I was doing the inspection, the quality control on the roof, I walked around and there was something that bothered me about the roof above this man's chimney. And so I queried Jeremy and I queried the crew as to why did we not take care of that when we were here? And they started telling me what was going on. I said, well, it's real simple. We go in there and we take the shingles out in this area and we expose, we pull the decking up.
Expose the rafters?
We pull the decking up and expose the rafters, and we will we'll basically put a straight edge on that rafter. In other words, we'll nail another board to the top of that rafter to get the level of the top of that where we want it. Then we'll reinstall the decking. We'll put the shingles on. The homeowner was very, very concerned. Oh, no, please just leave it like it is. And I told him, I said, sir, I've seen it. I cannot leave that like it is because it's something that we should have taken care of. I said, I promise you, you will never know that we did anything to your roof other than that we made this issue go away. You will not see it. There will be nothing visible to you in the way of a distortion in your shingles, anything. And because we had just done the roof, obviously there's no problem with color match on shingles or anything else. So we went out there, spent about 2 hours, took it apart, did exactly what I said, straightened out those 2 or 3, I think it was actually 3 rafters, put the decking back down, installed the underlayment and the shingles, and it looks beautiful. And the man called and says, well, you told me that I'd never know anything about it except that it was gone, and you're exactly right. He said, I really appreciate it.
Well, how about that?
But, you know, those are the kinds of things that were, you know, and I notice it because when I look at a house, when I look at a roof, when I look at the elements of the house, the fascia, the soffits, everything else, I'm looking at it from my old contractor background.
Right.
I'm looking at it from my experience for years and years and years of being a finish carpenter. And I'm looking at it from years and years and years of being on these jobs with super high quality subcontractors that worked for me, the Zamaliks and people like that who were true craftsmen, true tradespeople at everything that they did. And I learned everything that is supposed to be done thanks to good, high quality tradespeople. You know, I didn't know that stuff when I started. I didn't know if I'd seen Wesley out there doing that. I never framed. I wouldn't have known what Wesley was doing.
He would be out there talking to the wood.
He just likes, he's the wood whisperer or something.
Yeah,
you know?
talking
He's
to
just
the
out there.
wood.
What is that crazy guy doing? So anyway, but that's it, man.
I'd like to remind everybody our trivia question is, what is the difference between a wood shingle and a wood shake? And if you think you know what any of the differences are, give us a call, 405-478-1520. There are 2 free tickets to the theater in there for you.
The telegraphing, back to the word that Scotty actually started out with, the telegraphing is when something that is in a system, okay, is evident throughout that system. So when I look at a roof, if there's a problem with the framing, it is going to telegraph or show through the decking and the finished roof assembly, and I'm going to be able to see it. If there's a problem with the decking where they didn't use H-clips between the rafters, or they used 2 different thicknesses of decking, or they didn't leave the decking to where it had space to where it could expand and contract, and so what it did is it bulged. I can see all that stuff. If the decking got wet, particularly with the OSB decking, the oriented strand board, when OSB gets wet, the edges swell. Okay?
Right, they do.
So you start to get the edges are thicker than the field, so you start to see the perimeter of that sheet of decking on a roof. That's telegraphing, okay? That's when one issue or problem in an assembly shows itself all the way through to the finished product. That's what
usually can be
telegraphing
visible with just the normal naked eye looking from the street.
Yeah, you would see it. You might not know what it is,
exactly,
but you would know that you see something that doesn't look like it should be that way.
Exactly. So. There was a house across the street from me. The house is still there. The roof has been changed, but I remember one time many years ago you commenting about something about how poorly that roof job had been. It was a new composite roof that they had put on, and somebody had cut some corners, and you commented on it right away. It looked a little weird to me, but you knew exactly what was the thing, and I
I think the one that you're talking about is they had actually removed some dormers on the front of that house.
Skylights. They removed skylights.
And the way that they had taken care of filling those in, basically, I could see exactly where those skylights.
It telegraphed.
It telegraphed. I could see where those skylights used to be.
That's right.
So it's like when you go in and you do a patch and you have a small patch. You don't just do that small patch because it's going to show. It's going to it's very seldom is it going to be perfectly on the same level. It's either going to be too low or it's going to be too high. So what you do is you do that patch, and what you want to do is you expand that area. You feather it out. If you're doing that with drywall, or you're doing that with tape bed and texture, you're doing it with a roof, you go, say we want to take a vent out of a roof. It's a 14-inch vent. Well, we're not going to just put 14 inches of OSB in there and put a couple shingles in there. We're going to cut that OSB out rafter to rafter and put a bigger piece of OSB in there, and then put our underlayments and things in and put our shingles in. That way you're not going to see what it was.
There you go.
Won't telegraph, okay?
Telegraph.
There you go.
That's a great word of the week.
There you go.
All right, our trivia question again. What is the difference between wood shingle and wood shake? There are a lot of differences. We're just looking for one. 405-478-1520.
I can think of 4 right now. 4 different areas you could go and get a right answer.
Well, Eric is talking to someone on the phone.
Don't be shy.
While we're waiting for him to send us the name of the caller, I want to let you know that the second Saturday in May is National Dog Bombs Day, National Archery Day, and National Miniature Golf Day. It's also, we all love this one, National Eat What You Want Day. And then
I think I'll do that, Rick.
National Train Day. Actually,
but
no longer National Train
you're telling
Day.
me they discontinued
Amtrak discontinued that in 2016. But we do know tomorrow is Mother's Day.
National Mother's Day.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, I know you're on the phone, but it's time for us to take a break. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take that break now. We'll get back with you as soon as we get back. I want to remind everybody you're listening to McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC, AM 1520, FM 95.3. We're also on the iHeartRadio app, and we're live streaming the show on the McRoof Talks Insurance YouTube channel. We will be back in a flash, and we'll be talking to Dave when we do.
This is the home of talk radio's new generation, KOKC.
I'm Scott McCollum, and I am McRoof. Don't let that big out-of-pocket expense on your roof claim stand between you and the new roof that you want and need. I'll finance your deductible, non-recoverable depreciation, or your upgrades over 12 to 24 months. No third-party financing, no hassle, in-house financing by McRoof. Call Carly today at 855-766-3405 for details. McRoof.us, where every replacement is a replacement done right.
Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army and was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy was the pilot of a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy. November 11, 1943, Homer and his crew, along with 31 other bombers, flew a mission to destroy a ball bearing plant in occupied France. On the return trip, a mechanical failure caused the plane to drop out of formation, leaving the Yankee Doodle Dandy vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109 shot the plane down near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board. The others parachuted. 1 was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 21 years of service with numerous awards and citations, not to mention the Purple Heart. Homer Stacy. Homer Stacy McCollum. Scott McCollum's dad. Scott McCollum is McRoof. McRoof is owned and operated by the McCollum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to improve or repair your property, call 855-766-3405. Ask for a no-cost roof assessment and home inspection. That's McRoof, 855-766-3405. That's McRoof.
Folks, we're approaching the middle of May, and you know what's coming next, that long, hot summer and that hot attic. Let's do something about that. If you're in the process of replacing a roof, considering replacing a roof as a result of last year or this year's spring storms, be sure that you look at Energy Q, our 5-layer double foil. It is 5 stars, Scotty. 5-layer double foil radiant barrier. This radiant barrier can be rolled out right on top of your decking. We then install the underlayment on top of it and then install your shingles. This will reduce 98% of the radiant energy from ever entering your attic. Scotty, what do we do in attics here?
Well, we bake when I'm inspecting them.
we have air conditioning equipment in attics here. In other words, as an old friend of mine said, we make ice cream or try to make ice cream in attics, okay? So let's reduce that attic temperature. Folks, if your attic is more than 15 to 20 degrees warmer than the ambient air temperature, you're too hot. Your roof is either not properly ventilated or you need radiant barrier solution for your attic. Give us a call at 855-766-3405 and get your Energy Q quote from McRoof.
Talk Radio's new generation. KOKC.
Insurance back on the air for Act 2 of today's show. In obscure historical trivia, the Pennsylvania Hospital, founded by Dr. Thomas Bond and Benjamin Franklin, opened today in 1751 in Philadelphia. Good to the last drop. Maxwell House copy. That phrase was trademarked today on this date in 1926. And then in 1985, a young woman named Madonna hit the #1 spot with this single, Crazy for You.
Wow, that's amazing to think. 1985.
And I'm sure she'll start singing sooner or later.
She might. Maybe she won't.
Maybe this is the instrument.
Oh,
there she is.
There you go.
Okay, and enough about her. And just by the way, I just now saw on my phone that on this date in 1970, the soundtrack to the movie Woodstock was released.
Wow, there you go.
I had it. I had it on 8-track.
8-track. What? Scotty doesn't even know what an 8-track is. That's funny. Hey, Barry.
Wow,
Man, he's quick on the switch here now. There you go.
There we go. Thank you, Running Man Eric.
We ought to have a show some week where we just, all the old mantras, logos, sayings that were around. Scotty and I were talking this morning, and this will tie in with my dad's wisdom today. We were talking this morning, I remember back in I think it was probably late 70s, 80s, Ford had national campaigns, and it was quality is job one.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
I do.
That was and we're talking about it relative to our business.
Exactly.
And
we need to go to Dave, who's been patiently hanging on
Dave.
the phone. Hello, Dave.
Can't forget about that.
How you doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for hanging with us. Do you know what the difference between a wood shingle and a wood shake is?
Okay, well, I bought my house 16 years ago. It had a wood shake roof, which was banned in our neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
So I talked to the roofer contractor. That was a long time ago. I don't remember who it was. And I said, what is the difference between a wood shake and a wood shingle, which was still allowed? He said, number one, the wood shingle was processed, both sides. He said the wood shake was processed one side and was not fire retardant.
Well, we want to hear more from Dave, Rick. Don't hit the switch too soon.
Well, but he got enough to earn the tickets.
Yep, he did.
I've got another question.
Yes, sir, Dave.
Okay, I'm getting ready to re-roof my house again.
Are you?
It was built in 1966, and I don't think my structure can handle a wood shingle. I mean, a metal shingle versus a flat sheet of shingle.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in here, Dave, if you don't mind.
I still have more questions, but yeah, you jump in, Dave.
Well, if your roof right now has asphalt shingles on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Your metal roof is going to weigh less than your asphalt shingles do.
But do I need to strip off the asphalt and have the steel put on?
Well, that's a whole different question.
I thought we might be going there, Dave.
And I'm glad that's where we went because I'm just going to tell you that McRoof will not install a metal roof over an asphalt shingle. Okay,
that's what I was curious about.
Yeah. There is now. Are you talking about architectural metal that looks like a shingle or looks like slate or tile, or are you talking about metal panels, R panel, U panel, tough rib, things like that? Which type are you talking about?
I'm thinking more on the line of what I got in my cabin in Washington.
Okay.
A straight metal roof.
There you go.
A panel metal roof.
A panel metal roof. And here's the you're probably going to get more information than you really wanted. So here's the bottom line.
I already have a bunch of questions.
Okay. So number one, the shingles absolutely have to come off. Here's the first reason is, why would I ask you to spend the kind of money you're going to spend for a new metal roof and not know what we're putting that metal roof over? I want what we're putting that metal roof over to be inspected. I want it to be repaired or replaced to the degree that's necessary. I want to address any kind of framing issues or anything that might, again, back to our word, telegraph through that roof system. In other words, we can't do that without tearing off those asphalt shingles. The second thing is your metal roof relies on fasteners to hold it in place, okay? Whether it's a metal panel roof or it's a standing seam roof, it doesn't matter. It still relies, if it's standing seam, it relies on clips. If it's a metal panel roof, it relies on fasteners through the metal. I want those fasteners to properly seat. In other words, I want them to be flat. I don't want them to be at an angle or anything that would happen with asphalt shingles underneath them. Okay, so that's the second part of it. The other thing is that you need to have a high temperature underlayment. We use a what essentially is an ice and water, a peel and stick type product. We use it on the entire roof under a metal roof. We don't just use it in the valleys and penetrations like we do on an asphalt shingle roof. And you do need to ventilate a metal roof. People say, well, why do I need to ventilate a metal roof? Well, you're not ventilating your roof, you're ventilating your attic, okay? So that's kind of in a nutshell. We also we use lifetime fasteners. There are varying degrees of quality of fasteners out there. We use lifetime fasteners. Probably costs us on average $150, $250 per job to use a better fastener. So those are the kinds of the things that the kinds of questions that you would want to be asking.
Okay, how about what is the price differential?
Between?
You there?
Yeah, between.
Yes, I was waiting for the end of your question.
Between an asphalt.
Between having my asphalt shingles taken off and then reapplying asphalt versus taking the asphalt off, putting in that heat shield you're talking about, and then putting a straight panel roof on it.
Well, you're probably looking at about double what a shingle roof is, Dave, unless you're talking about a really, really super steep and super cut up roof. Approximately double what your average asphalt shingle install is going to be, remove and replace, compared to what an entry level or a good grade metal panel roof is going to cost.
Yeah, I'm going to say that you're on average right now, asphalt shingle roofs torn off, clean deck, replaced, all the bells and whistles. Asphalt shingle roofs right now are in that, $500 a square range, roughly. And then your metal roof is probably going to be start out at about half again that much, and then depending on what type of metal you want to do, could go on up to, like Scotty said, twice as much. So you're in the $750 to $1,000 a square range for a metal roof done correctly.
Okay, and if it was a sheet metal roof, how does it hold up to this outrageous hail?
Okay, here's what I always tell people about metal. Okay, when you install a metal roofs are going to perform great up to that 2, probably even to that 2.5 inch hail, provided that you don't have 110 mile an hour wind behind it, and provided that you didn't come out of a 45,000 foot tall supercell and grow all these appendages and everything on it as it came down and melted and got pushed back up. There is no guarantee that a metal panel roof is going. What I can tell you is that a metal panel roof is going to be there for probably 50 to 100 years, except for that wind-blown flying object that comes through the metal roof, or a metal roof that's not properly installed that actually peels off or lifts off. I don't really see hail penetrating metal. Scotty, have you ever seen it? We see it deform metal.
This links back to Dave's original question, and Dave, you're going to appreciate that we said this. And this is a very common principle in construction. Any primary roofing material is more prone to puncture when there's an airspace underneath it.
Right.
So when you talked about furring out your roof, putting furring strips on top of your shingle roof, your existing asphalt shingles, you are building up that metal roof where there is a significant airspace underneath that. I have, to my dad's question, seen penetrations in metal panels, and that has only ever been when a metal roof was installed
above
that way, where you've got furring strips framed with the metal roof framed up off of an existing shingle roof in most cases, which creates a significant airspace underneath that metal panel.
Or you've got
it does still take significant hail to do that, Dave. So it's unlikely, it's very uncommon to see. But the only times I've ever seen that is where
it's on top of something else.
Like that.
Yeah, when I've got your metal panel roof laying flat as if it were laying on a tabletop, properly fastened, the chances of that roof being penetrated is next to none. Now, there's a chance that you could have damage to, you have a hailstone that hits right on a seam or a joint, then there's damage to that. Could be functional damage. But if it's functional damage, the insurance company's going to pay to replace it. The problem with metal roofs, and I want people to understand this on their personal residence particularly, is that if that roof gets pocked up, in other words, it gets marked with hail, okay, it has dings and it has dimples and has some things in it that you can see, the insurance company is not going to pay to replace that roof. The only way they're going to pay to replace that metal roof, and this is in return for your discount that they're giving you, they're only going to pay to replace that metal roof if it is penetrated or if that panel is blown off or destroyed. Or in the case we just told you, there's hail hits on the laps, on the seams between two panels that distort that panel and make water tightness an issue. That's functional damage. The insurance company will pay for that.
Well, you answered one question just now.
Okay.
My other one, I got another one about reliability. And see, I already had, when I had the new roof put on 16 years ago, I had them strip the whole thing to the wood lap. I had it sheeted. The roofing company did not put any tarps in my attic. So you know what kind of mess I got there.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Since it is sheeted and we can insulate it, what do you think is the best one, a shingle or a sheet?
Oh, if you're looking for this comes down to a
personal preference, and long-term criteria.
Yeah, this comes down to I have to understand your horizon in the property. Okay, I have to understand kind of what you're looking at. If you're going to be in this property forever, and you don't ever want to have to replace the roof again, then you're going to put metal on it. Okay, if you're gonna will this property to somebody else in your family and don't ever want them to have to worry about it, you're gonna put a metal roof on it. That metal roof will be there probably 50 to 100 years. Okay,
if done right.
And that's what I tell people when I tell them you're going to spend twice as much for a metal roof, but it's going to live on average 7 times longer than an asphalt shingle roof. Okay, we know that on average the asphalt shingle roofs in our part of the country get replaced every 7 to 10 years. Okay, well, that metal roof is going to last 50 to 100 years. So yeah, you're paying more for it, but this is where the real value of that comes in. But if you're going to spend money on something that is a premium product, it is critical that you get a premium install, something
and
where someone does it correctly. Okay, we have a client right now that we're working with that unfortunately they're getting ready to sell their home, has a metal roof on it, and the metal roof's in such condition, as Scotty says, the worst install he's ever seen in his life. And the lady, she's going to replace the roof before she goes to market because she knows that it will come up on an inspection and it will be an issue of insurability for the new owners, and it's going to keep them from being able to sell the house. So,
be careful, Dave. Just be careful and be thoughtful, please. We wish you the best.
Well, call McRoof. That's the answer to that.
Here's the issue. I'm going to retire. I'm already 67 on Social Security, but I still work full time.
Mm-hmm.
And
I resemble that remark.
I've got 2 projects. I just finished putting brand new heat and air throughout the house.
Yeah.
We're not going to move. My kids want us to move north to Edmond. We live down here on Lake Hefner. I'm not moving. My house is paid for. I haven't borrowed anything against the house. I paid for the heat and air cash. My next project, though, I want to do a generator.
Mm-hmm.
Whole home generator.
Yep. It's
and
a good
then
project.
the last project before I retire, I want a metal roof put on my house.
There you go.
And like I said, I'm paying everything cash monthly.
Right.
That's a smart way to do it,
Hey,
Dave.
Dave, it's time for us to take another break, but please don't hang up quite yet. I want you to give Eric your email address so that I can send you a voucher for 2 free tickets to Carpenter Square Theater.
And thanks for calling, Dave.
I really appreciate Dave.
How about one of them fancy books?
What's that?
Oh, he wants one of your
want
books
one of those
instead.
fancy books?
Let's get him one of those.
We can do that. We can do that. Let me, I tell you what. Eric, just get his information, and I'll reach back out to him. I'll look and see what we've got on the shelf when I get back to the office. I'll reach out to Dave personally, and we'll get him a book. Okay.
All right.
Probably get it hand delivered to your house. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Dave. And with
Absolutely.
that, we'll take our break. We'll be back with Act 3 in just a moment, where we will do Scotty's view from the rooftop as well as our after the storm tip. I want to remind you, you're listening to McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC AM 1520, FM 95.3, and on the iHeartRadio app and live streaming on our YouTube channel.
We're going to talk some more about shake and shingle when we come back.
All right.
Talk Radio's new generation is KOKC.
I'm Scott McCollum, and I am McRoof. McRoof and CertainTeed are the team you need on your roof. CertainTeed's impact-resistant lineup is unbeatable. Northgate ClimateFlex, Presidential Shake, or the slate look of Belmont IR, or the King of Shingles, Grand Manor. Call Carly today at 855-766-3405 or go to McRoof.us. McRoof.us, where every replacement is a replacement done right.
Honoring America's Warriors is an Oklahoma-based 501c3 nonprofit that is committed to honoring our heroes and healing our warriors. Honoring America's Warriors provides teams of disabled combat veterans in service dress uniform to augment military honors for our brave that have served our country. Honoring America's Warriors also provides outdoor activities to get our returning veterans peer-to-peer with other veterans in a non-medical environment. To learn more or to donate, go to honoringamericaswarriors.org today.
Folks, RoofRx is my inspect, repair, and maintain company. RoofRx, 405-877-7663. If you've got any issues on your roof, if no one has looked at your roof in a number of years, we've all been subject to severe weather incidences over the last year or two here in the metro. Give us a call and let us get out there and give you a baseline inspection. This is not just a roofing salesman trying to sell you a roof. This is a qualified inspector, a certified credentialed inspector doing an inspection on your roof, whether it's a flat roof, a metal roof, or a shingle roof. Take a look at that roof. We'll tell you exactly what's going on. If you need some minor repairs things, we may even take care of those while we're there. If you need more extensive repairs, we'll give you a written estimate and a lifetime guarantee. And if you need to file an insurance claim and go through that process, we'll walk you through that process as well. Whether you're talking about a commercial flat roof, you're talking about a shingled roof, you're talking about a steep roof, give us a call at RoofRx, 405-877-7663. Ask for Carly, and she'll get you set up.
This is the home of talk radio's new generation, KOKC.
And McRoof Talks Insurance, back on the air for Act 3 of today's show, where we'll finally get Scotty's view from the roof and our After the Storm tip. But first, let me tell you, on this date, in 1947, B.F. Goodrich announced the development of the tubeless tire. How about that? Mm-hmm. In 1969, the British comedy troupe Monty Python's Flying Circus formed, made up of Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, and Michael Palin. I think the two Terrys are gone. I don't think they're with us anymore. And then on this date in 1970,
the long and winding road.
The Beatles' last American single release happened. 1970. Oh my goodness. Well, at least there was something Beatles related in the history archives today.
You'll always find that, Rick.
I will.
Dave, if you're listening, call us back. We didn't get your information. I can't get you a book and take care of you.
Yeah, Dave, Scott needs your number so he knows how to get a hold of you so you can get that book.
I want to talk a little bit more about shakes and shingles.
Okay.
So what exactly did Dave give us?
Well, Dave said that they're processed, wood shingles, he said, are processed on both the front and the back. He is correct in saying that. They're sawn both on the front and the back, smooth.
Okay.
Whereas wood shakes are hand split. Well, in most cases, they're hand split. Yeah. And hand split creates a very coarse texture on the face of the shake.
Okay.
So that's the main thing, and that's the first thing he started with.
Yeah, and that's one is the way that they're manufactured. Okay, you've got one that's run through saws and cut to uniform thickness, and then you've got another, as Scotty says, hand split. Now, in the cedar shakes, the hand split, we have different thicknesses. Exactly. We have what we consider nominal, or the thinnest. Then we have deluxe or heavy. Okay, and I don't remember exactly what all those thicknesses are. I think at a heavy wood shake,
up to 1.25 inches.
I was thinking heavy.
The deluxe. Yeah. And this is thickness at the butt of the shingle, which is the very edge, the bottom edge that people see.
That's
inch and a quarter.
Is
golly.
Yeah.
So when you start talking about the function of these wood shakes, okay, and versus a wood shingle, okay, when you have a wood shingle on a roof versus a wood shake on a roof, then you're going to expect more life out of the wood shake because it's thicker. Okay, and then when you get to a heavy wood shake, that's when we're talking. We're expecting that a heavy wood shake roof is going to last for 20 years or more. Okay, so when you look at it relative to an asphalt shingle, we just talked about around 7 to 10 years, more than twice that for a shake roof. And of course, when you have shake roofs in the northwest or the northeastern part of the United States, they're shake roofs that have lasted well over 50 years.
Yeah, okay? 70, 80 years.
They probably are all covered with lichen and algae and moss, and they look like a thatch by that time. But anyway, no, they've lasted a really long time. So the part about he mentioned something about fireproofing or fire preservative.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cedar shakes are also available. It sounded like when he looked into it, they weren't available in fire treated, but cedar shakes are available in a fire treated. I was always amazed when I came to Oklahoma City and saw all of these wood shake roofs.
Me too.
Number one, that they had not been outlawed, and number two, that the cities had not even required that if one of those roofs was replaced, that it had to be fire resistant, fire treated.
Yep.
Okay, we have a mill up in New Brunswick that we actually buy fire treated deluxe cedar shakes from when we have a need for that.
Okay.
Anyway, so
anything else on the shake versus shingle?
The other thing about shake versus shingle is kind of the use. I think of shingles more as a siding product. Okay, and the shake more as a roofing product.
Yep. Shakes are available, and they just come pre-assorted in bundles. Natural selection dictates how wide a given piece of wood shake is.
Yeah.
A given wood shake is compared to shingles. They're almost
uniform,
the same thickness and width each individual shingle, so that it's a huge cosmetic appearance difference.
All right. Well, since we're talking about roofs, let's go up on one.
We were walking in the Alabama
and see Scotty's view from the rooftop. Now, the title of this one led me to believe that someone had fallen off a roof, because the title is
Well, you did that better than I could have, Rick. But I was going to use a sound effect on YouTube.
He is the actor.
Yes, he is. Thank you for that worthy introduction.
You're welcome. But it really has to do with the fact that a customer was shocked.
Was calling in for a routine inspection, and what she got from me was anything but routine feedback.
Really?
Okay, do tell.
Well,
hurry it up, because we have a lot to get through.
I understand. So I'll talk like one of those auctioneers. No, I can't do that.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be Scotty.
She called Carly to get the appointment set up last week. We went out on Tuesday of this week, inspected. It was out near Bethany, just on the east edge of Overholser. It was a metal roof, and very steep metal roof too. And most metal roofs are not that steep.
Right.
But we did the inspection safely. Johnny and I had a helper. Johnny was out there with me, so it made our work go more smoothly and a little bit more quickly. Probably a little safer too. But with that being said, when we got on the rooftop at the very back edge of the roof, which is lower slope, to get up to the steeper slope, we started seeing some things that were very irregular. It's a standing seam roof, so it's a snap lock installation, which means that it's got clips that are concealed, that are fastened to the deck, which each panel clips in to the next, creating that concealed fastener, nice appearance, smooth, with tall ribs.
But something wasn't.
Tall ribs in the seams, but no, nothing was as it seemed from the ground level.
Oh
Rick.
my!
We started seeing openings in the ridge cap that were either because fasteners had pushed their way through, probably weren't fully seated to begin with.
And what else?
Panel ends at the ridge cap that weren't fully covered. We saw the ridge cap in some sections. It was winding like a snake. It didn't have a straight line on the whole roof.
You mean the ridge didn't even cover the ends of the panel?
That's right. The ends of the panels were exposed,
yeah,
and then
your ridge metal folds over,
right?
And where your panels can be cut a couple inches short because your ridge is, depending, it's whatever dimension you ordered it, but typically, 10 or 12 or more inches down both legs.
Exactly.
And so if you're a couple inches short, you still are lapped over 5, 6, 7 inches.
And then let me get to the two worst issues, because I know we're short on time. The two worst things that I saw on this roof were how they terminated their valleys. They had these dormers on the front of the house, which it is an absolute miracle that this thing didn't leak because of the way these valleys were flashed. They used the nice steel pre-finished. It was a green roof, not my preference, but hey, the owners liked it. It was such that they didn't have any covering from one piece of valley metal to the next. They just cut it up and tried to fold it over. It looked like a mangled piece of, just mangled chunk of metal that was, like I said, just a complete miracle.
Sounds like this may have been somebody's first attempt at metal roofing.
Boy,
with no training whatsoever.
I could not argue with that, Rick. I could not argue with that at all. And the very last thing, which is a huge issue, is that at the eaves and rakes of the house, especially the rakes, there was no drip edge, which meant that this panel, particularly this profile, they don't have any profiles of standing seam, snap lock, that cover past where the deck is supposed to be. There's a special piece of trim which is supposed to flash off
rake trim
that panel detail.
Yeah.
And there was none, which meant that with a wind-driven rain, there was absolute access for a wind-driven rain, bugs, rodents, etc., to just crawl in there, get in the attic. And I don't know if that's happened since the roof was installed, but it's a miracle if it hasn't.
So she let out the when you told her.
I told her what I saw, she almost screamed.
Oh, my goodness.
But she wasn't really surprised.
She wasn't surprised only because she did not do her research on who did her roof. She trusted a referral, and that did not turn out in the nicest way.
How long ago was that roof put on?
Rick, this roof is about 16 years old.
Oh, okay.
So again, and this is kind of back, we were talking with David a little bit, but for folks that are listening, if you're getting into a specialty roofing product, I'm going to tell you need to do this if you're putting on, an asphalt shingle. Okay, you've got to do your homework, and you've got to do your due diligence, and you've got to ask for current, recent references of jobs that you can go and look at, or people you can call and know that company, the person that gave this lady that referral, they may have honestly believed this company did a great job, and they may have done a great job on that person's roof.
Right.
Okay? But you have to know the way that a company operates day in and day out and determine that you're going to have the supervision. Number one, do they have the technical competency? Do they know how to do whatever the specialty roof is that you're wanting them to do? Number one. Number two, if they have the technical competency, how do they handle the management of the job site itself? Who's going to be responsible for that job on a day in and a day out basis? And number three, what is this company's history and track record of taking care of issues when they come up?
Exactly.
Because I'm going to tell you folks, this is not a perfect world. And, Scotty had something happen, and I can't even remember what it was, can't remember the customer, some little issue about something. And when I called the customer to apologize and whatever, he says, Scott, that's the reason that we hired you and Scotty, is because we're not worried about it. We know that it's going to be taken care of. That's what you need. You're not expecting perfection, but you have to know that somebody cares, and they're going to take care of any issue or problem that comes up along the way.
There you go.
Good point.
And now it's time for the After the Storm tip. All right, Scotty, you sent me some information. Wind, loose or missing shingles, fluttering, exposed nails. What does that mean?
That was just jumbled up mumbo jumbo from my dad.
A roofing word salad.
So
I hope he'll know what it means.
Yeah, I know what it means. So we had a fairly significant. Obviously, we've had bad weather in Oklahoma the last 2 weeks, and we know that people suffered with that. We had a fairly significant wind event in the metro the other night.
Yes.
From southwest, if you're at a southwest 104, if you're Tuttle, Blandy, down that way, southwest 104th in May, up towards Shields and 66, southwest 66. We know what that is, and then on over to the east and through mid-cities and that way. Fairly significant wind event, and if you're looking around and there's some fluttering shingles. When I say fluttering, they're not flapped over, they're not bent all the way over onto the shingle above them. They're not missing, they haven't slid down the roof, but as you watch them in our winds, you see that shingle fluttering. Then somebody needs to come out and kind of take a look and see what's going on. Most people will see missing shingles on their hip and ridge, and typically that's because Scotty, we talked about it. Typically, that's because the roofer used too short of a nail on the hip and ridge. So that's something we talk about. But you need to have somebody come out and do an inspection. And again, that's not somebody trying to sell you a roof. That's Scotty with his HAAG credentials. It's one of my other solution specialists coming out to tell you exactly what it is that you've got and get your inspection, do any repairs that you need to get through the rest of storm season, and then after that's over with, you can evaluate the situation or the need to file an insurance claim, if at all.
Okay. Well, a couple of things I need to cover. First off, the lawyer called me, texted me, and said, I have to tell you that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. And then programming note, the last OU baseball game of the season is next Saturday at 11 a.m.
Okay.
So we may or may not be here, depending on which station Tyler Media puts them on.
Okay.
I'll find out Monday.
Yeah. Nice to know.
If we'll be here next week or not.
Okay.
And then after that is the Big 12 conference, and who knows what's going on.
Who knows?
Okay, so let's do Dad's wisdom.
Okay, so here it is. If you can't afford to do the job right, you better be able to afford to do it again.
We hope to see you next week, if not the week after, on McRoof Talks Insurance.
All you mamas out there, happy Mother's Day. God bless you.
KOKC, Oklahoma City.
The Tyler Media Station, entertaining you since 1960.